My man Biden. President Biden's address to Congress. My president. Hope you're doing good, Joe. Ever since I single-handedly kicked you into office. Woo! Seems like some people were real salty about this one. You know, I missed this the other day because I was too busy not streaming. And I actually got DMs from people. I saw a tweet from Shoe on Head, not a big Biden fan, saying, I heard Biden did really good in his speech. So that's my, whatever information Shoe on Head got, if it was convincing to her, then hey, maybe he really did do good, you know? This man is a true reflection of all the people who voted for him. Can't wait for the cuts to be made where he is actually singing Backstreet Boys. What? I don't even know. Let's just get started.
Mitch and Chuck will understand it's good to be almost home. Down the hall. Anyway, thank you all. Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President.
My president
has ever said those words from this podium. No president has ever said those words. And it's about time.
Wait, how many people are here for this? Like 5 people in the audience? We'll speed it up a bit, don't worry. No, I always click the wrong gear. Why would the YouTube add-on have the 2 symbols look the same? Stupid.
First Lady, I'm her husband.
Hey.
Second Gentleman, Chief Justice. Members of the United States Congress and the Cabinet, distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. While the setting tonight is familiar, this gathering is just a little bit different.
We already have a problem, okay? Joe Biden should be using the AT-AT 40 Audio Techno mic that I'm currently using, okay? I have no idea why in the halls of Congress mics sound so shit.
Reminder of the extraordinary times we're in. Throughout our history, presidents have come to this chamber to speak to Congress, to the nation, and to the world, to declare war, to celebrate peace, to announce new plans and possibilities. Tonight, I come to talk about crisis and opportunity, about rebuilding the nation, revitalizing our democracy, and winning the future for America. I stand here tonight, one day shy of the 100th day of my administration. 100 days since I took the oath of office and lifted
Man, time does fly, huh? That's crazy.
My hand off our family Bible and inherited a nation, we all did, that was in crisis. The worst pandemic in a century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. Now, after just 100 days, I can report to the nation, America is on the move again. Turning peril into possibility, crisis to opportunity, setbacks into strength. We all know life can knock us down, but in America, we never, ever, ever stay down. Americans always get up.
It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Rocky. What was that, Rocky 6? Maybe it was from all the Rockies. I don't know.
Today, that's what we're doing. America's rising anew, choosing hope over fear, truth over lies, and light over darkness. After 100 days of rescue and renewal, America is ready for a takeoff, in my view. We're working again, dreaming again, discovering again, and leading the world again. We have shown each other and the world that there's no quit in America, none. 100 days ago, America's house was on fire. We had to act. And thanks to the extraordinary leadership of Speaker Pelosi, Majority Leader Schumer, and the overwhelming support of the American people, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, we did act. Together we passed the American Rescue Plan, one of the most consequential rescue packages in American history. We're already seeing the results. We're already seeing the results. After I promised we'd get 100 million COVID-19 vaccine shots into people's arms in 100 days, we will have provided over 220 million COVID shots in those 100 days. Thanks to all the help of all of you.
You know, I'm going to give some legit praise. The vaccine rollout has actually been pretty extraordinary. Like, not just a for Biden thing. It actually has been pretty goddamn good. What do we got? Hold on. How many vaccinated in America? Give me some data. There we go. Looks like around 30, depends on the state, but it looks like bridging 35% of the population is fully vaccinated. And if we're looking at just one dose, Jesus, 60% in New Hampshire, Vermont 53%, 50%, 54%. In California, it's near 50. The South is lagging behind significantly because Republican governors, you know how it is. But yeah, no, things are looking pretty goddamn good right now. It's only good because the U.S. has secured enough vaccines for our entire population 3 times over. We're doing vaccine apartheid. Land of the free, baby. America first. I'm kidding. It's a tragedy.
We're marshaling, with your help, everyone's help, we're marshaling every federal resource. We've gotten vaccines to nearly 40,000 pharmacies and over 700 community health centers where the poorest of the poor can be reached. We're setting up community vaccination sites, developing mobile units to get to hard-to-reach communities. Today, 90% of Americans now live within 5 miles of a vaccination site. Everyone over the age of 16, everyone is now eligible to get vaccinated right now, right away. Go get vaccinated, America. Go and get the vaccination. They're available.
Go become a girl.
Eligible now.
We have too many bad boys in America. Go.
When I was sworn in on January 20th, less than 1% of the seniors in America were fully vaccinated against COVID-19. 100 days later, 70% of seniors in America over 65 are protected, fully protected.
Wow.
Senior
Jesus.
deaths from COVID-19 are down 80% since January. Down 80% because of all of you. And more than half of all the adults in America have gotten at least one shot. A mass vaccination center in Glendale, Arizona. I asked the nurse, I said, what's it like? She looked at me and she said, it's like every shot is giving a dose of hope. The phrase, a dose of hope. A dose of hope for an educator in Florida who has a child suffering from an autoimmune disease. Wrote to me, said she was worried about bringing the virus home. She said she then got vaccinated at a large site in her car. She said she sat in her car when she got vaccinated and just cried. Cried out of joy and cried out of relief. Parents, seeing the smiles on...
Does this appeal to boomers? Okay, so what you guys have to understand is the goals that Biden has moving into this speech. So this is the big congressional address from the president since the pandemic has begun. This is our big shot. It's been 100 days into his presidency. We're finally on the upturn of the pandemic. The economy is starting to kick in a little bit more. What Americans want to hear more than ever before is the idea that soon things are going to get back to normal. And not just normal, that things are going to be better than they were before. Optimism is the hit that Biden wants to go for here. Optimism is what people care about more than anything else right now. So Biden's going to try to hit on those notes as hard as he can.
On the kids' faces for those who are able to go back to school because the teachers and school bus drivers and cafeteria workers have been vaccinated. Grandparents hugging their children and grandchildren instead of pressing hands against a window to say goodbye. It means everything. Those things mean everything. You know, there's still, you all know it, you know it better than any group of Americans, there's still more work to do to beat this virus. We can't let our guard down. But tonight, I can say, because of you, the American people, our progress these past 100 days against one of the worst pandemics in history has been one of the greatest logistical achievements this country's ever seen. What else have we done in those first 100 days? We kept our commitment, Democrats and Republicans, of sending $1,400 rescue checks to 85% of American households. We've already sent more than 160 million checks out the door. It's making a difference. You all know it when you go home. For many people, it's making all the difference in the world. The single mom in Texas who wrote me, she said she couldn't work, but she said the relief check put food on the table and saved her and her son from eviction from their apartment. A grandmother in Virginia who told me she immediately took her granddaughter to the eye doctor, something she said she put off for months because she didn't have the money. One of the defining images, at least from my perspective.
The funny thing is that since you guys are conditioned by my debate bro tendencies, the way that Biden talks to you right now comes off as like really pandering and laced with anecdotes, but most people actually don't see it that way. Your average person is going to look at how Biden's talking right now, and this is just a perfectly ordinary cadence for a politician. The fact that you were able to see the rhetorical tricks is a good thing, though, so you should be happy about that, though it can be a bit irritating once you start to notice them. This is going to be everything that he has to say. He'll mention a good thing that his administration has done, and then he'll provide one or two anecdotes of him meeting some poor, vulnerable person who looked up at him with wet eyes and said, "Thank you, Mr. Joe Biden. Thank you for being our president." That's going to be pretty much everything we're going to be hit with here. That said, the Biden administration has done a decent amount in its first 100 days. Enough to brag about. I mean, maybe he's hoping people have forgotten about the whole 2K check thing instead of the 1,400. Nobody gives a shit about the Syrian missile strike, so that's not even going to come up in people's minds. God, what do independents and Republicans even care about right now? What's vaccine microchips? I feel like unless you're very politically aware or insane, there aren't many things you can overtly criticize him for yet. Yeah. Dr. Seuss, you know, you have to be fairly politically educated or watch a lot of Fox News to like have something to nail it in on here.
In this crisis has been cars lined up for miles, and not people just barely able to start those cars, nice cars, lined up for miles, waiting for a box of food to be put in their trunk. I don't know about you, but I didn't ever think I'd see that in America. And all of this is through no fault of their own, man. No fault of their own, these people are in this position. That's why the rescue plan is delivering food and nutrition assistance to millions of Americans facing hunger. And hunger's down sharply already. We're also providing rental assistance. You all know this, but the American people, I want to make sure they understand. Keeping people from being evicted from their homes. Providing loans to small businesses that reopen and keep their employees on the job. During these 100 days, an additional 800,000 Americans enrolled in the Affordable Care Act when I established a special sign-up period to do that. 800,000 in that period. We're making one of the largest one-time investments ever in improving health care for veterans. Critical investments to address the opioid crisis. And maybe most importantly, thanks to the American Rescue Plan, we're on track to cut child poverty in America in half this year.
Holy shit, she a rocket up there? Jesus. Look at her eyes. She's like waiting for it.
Cut child poverty in America in half this year. And in the process, well, this was all.
That's actually pretty based. Yeah, the coolest thing is the child tax credits that the plan drops are massive. The child tax credits, what did it get up to? Was it like, did it get up to like 3,500? I forget the details, but the child tax credits are massive, which of course disproportionately benefits poor people. And additionally, you get those credits even if you pay nothing in taxes, meaning that if you're really poor and you've got some kids, IRS is just going to cut you a big fat check. It doesn't just cut against your debt. It pays out after. Can you explain it to dummies like me? Think of it like this, okay? Imagine you're going to the grocery store, buy up some stuff, and two people got two different types of cards, okay? One of them has a gift card, and the other one's got a debit card, okay? And both of them have $3,400 on it, okay? With the gift card, you know, you can cut down on the cost of whatever it is you're buying in there, but if you walk out after only having spent $100, you have $3,300 on your gift card, but you're not taking that money home. You can only spend it there. Whereas with the debit card, you go in there, you buy your shit, you leave, that money's yours. You get it? It's an excellent way of distributing wealth to the poor.
Going on, the economy created more than 1,300,000 new jobs in 100 days. More jobs in the first 100 days than any president on record. The International Monetary Fund.
Getting our calisthenics today, Jesus.
The International Monetary Fund.
Cover your nose.
Now estimating
I
our
saw
economy
that.
will grow at a rate of more than 6% this year. That will be the fastest pace of economic growth in this country in nearly 4 decades. America's moving forward, but we can't stop now. We're in competition with China and other countries to win the 21st century. We're at a great inflection point in history. We have to do more than just build back better. We have to build back.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be weird. Pelosi just looks like she wants to eat Joe. Does anyone else get some, like, Patient Zero vibes from the stare? I don't know. Maybe a little bit.
Better. We have to compete more strenuously than we have. Throughout our history.
She looks like a frog waiting for a fly. She's probably happy about a lot of this stuff because as House Majority Leader, she was essential in pushing this legislation through.
If you think about it, public investment in infrastructure has literally transformed America, our attitudes as well as our opportunities. The Transcontinental Railroad, the interstate highways, united 2 oceans and brought a totally new age of progress to the United States of America. Universal public schools and college aid opened wide the doors of opportunity. Scientific breakthroughs took us to the moon. Now we're on Mars. Discovering vaccines gave us the internet and so much more.
Wait, are we discovering vaccines on Mars?
As one country, and investments that only the government was in a position to make. Time and again, they propel us into the future. That's why I proposed the American Jobs Plan, a once-in-a-generation investment in America itself. This is the largest jobs plan since World War II. It creates jobs to upgrade our transportation infrastructure, jobs modernizing our roads, bridges, highways, jobs building ports and airports, rail corridors, transit lines. It's clean water. And today, up to 10 million homes in America and more than 400,000 schools and child care centers have pipes with lead in them, including drinking water. A clear and present danger to our children's health. American Jobs Plan creates jobs replacing 100% of the nation's lead pipes and service lines so every American can drink clean water.
Get up.
And in the process, it will create thousands and thousands of good-paying jobs. It creates jobs connecting every American with high-speed internet, including 35% of the rural America that still doesn't have it. This is going to help our kids and our businesses succeed in the 21st century economy. And I'm asking the Vice President to lead this effort, if she would, because I know it will get done. Creates jobs building a modern power grid. Our grids are vulnerable to storms, hacks, catastrophic failures, with tragic results, as we saw in Texas and elsewhere during the winter storms. The American Jobs Plan will create jobs that lay thousands of miles of transmission lines needed to build a resilient and fully clean grid. We can do that.
You know what would be amazing? If we lived in a country where shit like this was taken for granted and we didn't all have to breathe a deep sigh of relief every time our leaders do something that's objectively good. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if we lived in a good world, you know, the better world, a clean world, the president would say something like, I believe investing in infrastructure is good for the country, and people wouldn't be like, oh my God, I agree, you know, oh my God. They'd be like, oh yeah, of course. So what else are you gonna do, you know? But, well, here's the world we live in, you know? None of this, by the way, is controversial. Investing in infrastructure helps literally everyone. It helps the government, it helps the people, it helps businesses. Literally everybody benefits from making sure infrastructure is expansive and well-maintained. Objectively. Like climate change, too. Nobody benefits from allowing the planet to catch on fire at all. We just fight over it. We just like fighting it. We're just like, yeah, do we want good things or do we want bad things? I don't know. Oh, we got a president. This president mostly likes good things. Round of applause, people. We really lucked out on this one. Like, okay. Christ. God. I mean, it's good. We should be happy. It's good. It's just, it's crazy that the Overton window has slipped so far to the right economically that positions like this are considered radical. I mean, Jesus. It really does make me feel that, like, the American electorate is controlled half by, like, it's like a fantasy world, okay? It's like half by, like, humans and half by, like, mind flayers or something who just want evil. They just, you know, just like when the Republicans get in, and some Democrats too, they just get in and they just like the evil. It's just like, it's a thing they like morally, they just want it to be that way, you know? It's like, all right. The existence of the mind flayers really makes it difficult for us to be scrutinous with regards to the moral character of the humans, you know? It's really, really difficult to be picky about humans when there are mind flayers that can win. Okay, just...
Look, American Jobs Plan will help millions of people get back to their jobs and back to their careers. 2 million...
What can everyday people do to help ensure Republicans don't hold power again? Next time there's a big election, okay, you need to go to a grocery mart and you need to buy all the bananas. Eat the bananas, and then strategically place their banana peels outside of every NRA office, gun shop, country club, retirement set, just the epicenters, you know? And depending on which counties you're in, you can just put them everywhere, you know? And yeah, that's what the average citizen can do. Yes, guerrilla warfare, okay? Monkey pilled.
Million women have dropped out of the workforce during this pandemic. 2 million. And too often because they couldn't get the care they needed to care for their child
in Roblox.
Or care for an elderly parent who needs help.
Yeah?
800...
Wait!
For an elderly parent who needs help.
What are you reading, motherfucker?
800,000 families are on the Medicare waiting list right now to get home care for their aging parent or loved one with disability. If you think it's not important, check out...
I'm sorry, I can't get over what a virtue signal this is.
Parent
Look.
Who needs help. Their child.
Wait.
Or care for an elderly parent who needs help.
Does he know the camera's on him? Is he like, he's like watching the speech, then the camera gets on him, he's like, oh wait, hold on. Like he wants to look like he doesn't care, you know? Is this some fucking tsundere shit?
800...
It's a pocket constitution? Wait, is that real? Hold on. Wait, didn't I see that on Twitter? Hold on. Is it? Wait, I did. Yeah. Wait, real? How does he know it's a pocket constitution? Where does it say? That is such a LARP, dude. Oh my God. Pocket constitution. Hey, dumb fuck. If you're already an elected representative, you should have the Constitution memorized. Why are you reading it? That's the Chad move right there, okay? That's the Chad move, all right? When somebody's like, did you enjoy Joe Biden's speech? You're like, no, actually, I had a perfect 3D model of the Constitution rotating in my head, and I just envisioned that. That's the Chad move, okay? When you read the Constitution, you should know the Constitution, okay? Not even a good virtue signal, all right? NFT Constitution. Hey, I take it back. NFTs are a good thing. One NFT of the Constitution, then you delete all the other ones, okay?
100,000 families are on the Medicare waiting list right now to get home care for their aging parent or loved one with disability. If you think it's not important, check out in your own district, Democrat or Republican. Democrat or Republican voters. Their great concern, almost as much as the children,
The Supreme Court would make rulings based off what they remember. They're like, I think it's like page 17.
And create jobs for our caregivers with better wages and better benefits.
Something there about guns.
For too long, we've failed to use the most important word when it comes to meeting the climate crisis. Jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
Jobs. Jobs. Jobs. Come.
For me, when I think climate change, I think jobs.
Jobs.
American Jobs Plan will put engineers and construction workers to work building more energy-efficient buildings and homes. Electrical workers, IBEW members installing 500,000 charging stations along our highways so we can own.
He wasn't done!
So we can own the electric car market. Farmers planting cover crops so they can reduce the carbon dioxide in the air and get paid for doing it. Look, think about it. There is simply no reason why the blades for wind turbines can't be built in Pittsburgh instead of Beijing. No reason.
Oh, shit.
None.
Xenophobic Joe Biden, the anti-tanky arc.
So
Dengism destroyed. Unironically, though, I completely agree with this. I don't really care about like manufacturing jobs being overseas on principle, but America is primed to be the world leader in the development of green energy technology, and we just haven't been. It is a gold mine, the likes of which the world has never seen before. Potential that every country on Earth will need this technology. We could be the fucking space guardians of this shit, okay? We could be like the deific patricians of green energy technology, okay? We could all enter the singularity, all right? In 10 years! Biden plan, all right? Poor little the UK, they want more green energy technology, okay? They fly over to America, which is now just a giant murky haze of electrons firing within a big orbital dome. Excuse me, Americans, could we have some of them, solar panels and carbon scrubbers, please? The dome opens, okay, and a cloud of electrons blasts their ship. Instantly, their cargo bays are filled, okay, with all the green energy tech they need. And we instantly deduct 1 trillion pounds from their national bank with our brains. And then the dome closes. That could be our future in 10 years, okay? We are choosing not to take that future, okay?
There's no reason why American workers can't lead the world in the production of electric vehicles and batteries. I mean, there is no reason. We have the capacity.
Hey, Vosh, you just forget the UK is far more ahead in green energy? Did you forget you lost the Revolutionary War? Sit the fuck down, loyalist.
Jobs Americans can raise a family on. As my dad would then say, with a little breathing room. And all the investments in the American Job Plan will be guided by one principle. Buy American. Buy American. And I might note parenthetically, that does not violate any trade agreement. It's been the law since the 30s. Buy American.
Lost a 13-colony lead.
Are going to be used to buy American products made in America to create American jobs. That's the way it's supposed to be, and it will be in this administration. And I made it clear to all my cabinet people, their ability to give exemptions has been strenuously limited. It will be American products. Now, I know some of you at home are wondering whether these jobs are for you. So many of you, so many of the folks I grew up with, feel left behind, forgotten, in an economy that's so rapidly changing. It's frightening. I want to speak directly to you, because you think about it.
Me?
That's what people are most worried about. Can I fit in? Independent experts estimate the American Jobs Plan will add millions of jobs and trillions of dollars to economic growth in the years to come. It is a 8-year program. These are good-paying jobs that can't be outsourced. Nearly 90% of the infrastructure jobs created in the American Jobs Plan do not require a college degree. 75% don't require an associate's degree. The American Jobs Plan is a blue-collar blueprint to build America. That's what it is.
It's pretty based.
And
I want more, though, by the way. I do want quite a bit more. What was that infrastructure bill? $3 trillion over 10 years? I want 10 trillion. Okay? I want 10 trillion over 10 years. Okay? That's what I want. I want $1 trillion a year. I want it to single-handedly exceed the military budget. I'm not joking. 10 trillion over 10 years. Would that be a hell of an expenditure? Fuck yeah, it would. Would it be good? Fuck yeah, it would. Absolutely. Nothing America benefits more from. See, guys, if you ever... Look. If you ever want some really dank shit, okay? If you ever want some... Oh, if you really want to huff some good stuff, if you want to learn more about ways to improve our economy now, neo-Keynesian economists, I feel like they have the best answer, okay? Because Keynesian economics sort of formed the blueprint for America's big economic boom, ye back in the 30s and 40s, and neo-Keynesian economists, I feel like they've got a neo solution. Is what they've got. I'm thirsty today. But Marx is the great economist. Marx is a great economist. I think a lot of neo-Keynesian economists are leftists, actually. Is anyone more educated than me, more familiar with this stuff? Oh, am I thinking post-Keynesian? I think I'm thinking post-Keynesian. Hold on. I've only read up a little bit on them because they were recommended. Post-Keynesian economics was recommended by Unlearning Economics, the person who did that, those critical videos of Sean and ContraPoints and stuff. Post-Keynesian economics is a school of economic thought and the origins of general theory, with Keynes' subsequent development to a large point from Mikhail Kalinke, Joan Robinson, Nicholas Calder, blah, 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 blah. Close to the spirit of Keynes' original work, heterodox approach to economics. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people... Did I say Kyle Kalinske? Wait, what did I say here? Robinson, Davidson, Weintraub. What did I say Kalinske? I gotta read more in this shit. Well, anyway. The point that I'm trying to get at here, very laboriously, okay? Very, very laboriously, is that the government spending money is based as shit, okay? You guys ever played Cookie Clicker? You gotta spend money to make money. Never has that been more true than with government infrastructural investment. Never has that been more true than there. Every time you build the roads, you build the electrical towers, you spread infrastructure, and people can make more stuff. The government allows us to do these things. The government is the system by which the people get together and they push for economic policies that benefit everyone. They use their resources, their collective accumulated power, in a way which should be benefiting us. How can we prevent the guy from blowing out the spending? I just get worried when we increase budget spending. Don't worry about it. Never worry about spending, okay? Worrying about spending is for gigacucks, all right? Do you know why we have an issue with our debt? If it even is an issue, by the way, okay? Because there are benefits to countries holding debt in other countries. The reason why we have a debt problem is because we don't tax the wealthy, okay? So you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do? We're going to invest in our infrastructure, okay? We're going to make this country so goddamn wealthy it'll make your head spin. And the rich are going to get richer and richer and richer and richer and richer. We're going to get our first trillionaire here in America within the next 20 years. And then you know what we're going to do? 100% wealth tax. Anything over $1 million. Get fucked! Fuck, 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 fuck! And then they get fucked! We take all of it! All right? That's what we're going to do, okay? We're really going to hit him with the bait and switch there, okay? God damn right. We're going to create a country so wealthy that we have to tax the poorest people because even they're too rich, okay? We're going to go to the poorest district in America. We're going to go to Skid Row, LA, okay? And the IRS fucking money van is going to pull up right next to the poorest person in the neighborhood, okay? They're going to knock on the window of his Rolls Royce. They're going to have him roll it down and they're going to pull him up, but they can't pull him out because he's weighed down by so much expensive jewelry. They're going to have to get a goddamn fucking Hulk team of bodyguards to pull out the poorest man in America and tax him for 99% of his income because he's so goddamn wealthy. That's what we're doing, okay? Everyone hyped? All this and more under Biden, okay? And in order to achieve that, the rest of the world has to become Africa. Economics is not a zero-sum game. Obviously, I'm playing up jokes here, but no. Proper investment, proper policy can enrich the entire world. We will make the entire world rich. I don't know how we're going to synthesize enough gold, okay, to give everyone gigantic gold bars to carry around, but we're going to do it, okay?
It's something I've always said in this chamber and the other. Good guys and women on Wall Street, but Wall Street didn't build this country. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. So that's why I'm calling on Congress to pass Protect the Right to Organize Act, the PRO Act, and send it to my desk so we can support the right to unionize. And by the way, while you're thinking about sending things to my desk, let's raise the minimum wage to $15.
Hey,
No one working 40 hours a week. No one working 40 hours a week.
If you could do it, Joe, you're going to need to get rid of the filibuster.
We need to ensure greater equity and opportunity for
women.
Talk
is cheap,
Joe! The Paycheck Fairness Act to my desk as well. Equal pay. They spent much too long. And if you wonder whether it's too long, look behind me. And finally, American Jobs Plan will be the biggest increase in non-defense research and development on record. We'll see more technological change, and some of you know more about this than I do. We'll see more technological change in the next 10 years than we saw in the last 50. That's how rapidly artificial intelligence and so much more is changing. And we're falling behind the competition with the rest of the world. Decades ago,
he's actually not even a bad speaker. No, Joe Biden has never been a particularly bad speaker. He does have a stutter, but it seems to be exacerbated when he's nervous. He flusters a bit in debate context, but when it comes to like confidently delivering a speech, I think he's pretty competent. He's nowhere near as good as like Obama, but Obama was like 100 years younger. So, oh, do keep in mind this is sped up 25%. He does normally speak slower, but his cadence is pretty acceptable, I'd say. This is definitely better than he sounded on the campaign trail.
We used to invest 2% of our gross domestic product in America, 2% of our gross domestic product in research and development. Today, Mr.
Just for comparison's sake, here's normal.
Secretary, that's less than 1%. China and other countries are closing in fast. We have to develop and dominate the products and technologies of the future. Advanced batteries, biotechnology, computer chips,
all right,
clean
I got
energy. The Secretary of Defense can tell you, and those of you on work in national security issues know, the Defense Department has an agency called DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. The people who set up before I came here, and that's been a long time ago, to develop breakthroughs that enhance our national security. That's their only job. And it's a semi-separate agency. It's under the Defense Department. It's led to everything from the discovery of the internet to GPS and so much more that's enhanced our security. The National Institute of Health, the NIH, I believe, should create a similar advanced research projects agency for health. And that would, here's what it would do. It would have a singular purpose, to develop breakthroughs to prevent, detect, and treat diseases like all.
I'm sorry. This is this is this is all my NFT lovers in chat right now. Crypto Twitter changed my life. I've never talked to a girl before crypto Twitter, but started as OnlyFans sub and DMs became a lifelong friendship. I paid for them to take a flight to Cali and took my first picture with an actual woman. Couldn't stop smiling. All right, so I'm sorry. Both of these people are kings and queens. Okay, I love them. Just that's, that's no hate. Okay, we're not hating anyone. Just uh. You can laugh, but only if the laugh is sympathetic, like oof, ouch, owie, my heart, and not cruel and derisive, okay? That's what you can do. I'm giving you permission. Update your Chrome? Never.
Alzheimer's, diabetes, and cancer. I'll still never forget when we passed the cancer proposal in the last year as vice president. Almost $9 million going to NIH. And if excused a point of personal privilege, I'll never forget you standing, Mitch, and saying, name it after my deceased son. It meant a lot. But so many of us have deceased sons, daughters, and relatives who died of cancer. I can think of no more worthy investment. I know of nothing that is more bipartisan. So let's end cancer as we know it. It's within our power. It's within our power to do it.
This is a little off topic, but sometimes I wonder how far away we are from, like, actually being able to cure cancer. You know? I feel like we've been getting signs for decades now that we're close, but with that CRISPR shit, aren't we actually, like, at least for some types, a little bit, like, we're closer than we were before? Yeah, I thought CRISPR could be a game changer if mastered properly. Sorry, this is super apropos of nothing, but the way I understand it is like, so the way we treat cancer right now is there's, basically we just blast your whole body with radiation, and you kill off, like, all the cells, and you just try not to kill off so many that you die, and it kills off a lot of the bad ones too. But as I understand it, and I could be wrong, cancer is basically something that happens when the innumerable tiny alterations to a cell's genetic code sometimes lead it to freak the fuck out and go rogue. And most of the time those rogue cells get killed, but sometimes they spread enough that they become a problem and they don't die and they just reproduce and reproduce and reproduce. And I thought one way that CRISPR could be helpful was the way CRISPR works is there's like a type of creature in your body, like trillions of them, that are used to select and edit code in other genes. And what you could do is you could use it to alter your body's ability to identify cancer cells. Like, basically, you alter the criteria by which your cells find other cells and determine if they're cancerous, or something like that. Like, you're hacking the cells or something like that, you know? This is a long way of telling us you watch Cells at Work. I actually haven't watched Cells at Work. Is it any good? The Cells at Work anime, it looks really dumb, but like maybe it's fun dumb, you know? It's good? Okay, I can watch it, yeah. It's technically not alive, so not a creature. Okay, not alive, but it's some kind of biological machine. Yeah. You're pretty close. CRISPR would be used to alter the actual genes to make your body more smart, basically. Yeah, that's what I heard. There was, I remember watching a Kurzgesagt video on it a while ago, that there are a bunch of potential ways that you could address the conditions that humans face, you know? Something like that. Pretty wild, you know? Can we watch the video? No, we can't. No, we're busy. CRISPR is not that effective. It's good for eggs, but not good for already developed creatures. Well, what if we did that at birth? Wouldn't it be cool if, like, we have, like, little duders in our blood and our cells that are like, hey, your DNA's good, right? Your DNA's fine. Oh, it's not. Snip, snip, self-destruct. And then when we're like little baby, like little zygotes, we get a little shot, and it's like, hey, you dudes, you need to be a little more aggressive for this type of shit, okay? Be on the lookout for this little shit right here, okay? Pachoom. And you get the little shot, and you get, like, cancer-killing dudes in there, you know? All right, well, maybe someday. Not a biologist. Do you think gene editing people do not have disabilities? Because half the people in your server call me a Nazi when I have that take. I personally think it's insane not to. Okay, this is a fact. This is a descriptive statement, not a prescriptive statement, okay? When gene editing becomes more accessible and cheaper, people are going to start editing out conditions which are considered disabilities. That can range from anything from physical disabilities to psychological or like mental or like autism or whatever. It will happen. That is a fact. If we don't think that should happen, we can legislate against it, but I find it highly unlikely that that legislation will take root. So the real question is, knowing that's going to happen, what should we do about it? And I think that's a much more interesting discussion. You know? So, yeah, that's just my personal opinion.
Investments in jobs and infrastructure like the ones we're talking about have often had bipartisan support in the past. Vice President Harris and I met regularly in the Oval Office with Democrats and Republicans and discussed the jobs plan. And I applaud a group of Republican senators who just put forward their own proposal. So let's get to work. I wanted to lay out before the Congress my plan before we got into the deep discussions. I'd like to meet with those who have ideas that are different, they think are better. I welcome those ideas. But the rest of the world is not waiting for us. I just want to be clear. From my perspective, doing nothing is not an option. Look, we can't be so busy competing with one another that we forget the competition that we have with the rest of the world to win the 21st century. Secretary Blinken can tell you I spent a lot of time with President Xi. Traveled over 17,000 miles with him. Spent, they tell me, over 24 hours in private discussions with him. When he called to congratulate him, we had a 2-hour discussion. He's deadly earnest about becoming the most significant, consequential nation in the world. He and others, autocrats, think that democracy can't compete in the 21st century with autocracies because it takes too long to get consensus. To win that competition for the future, in my view, we also need to make a once-in-a-generation investment in our families and our children. That's why I've introduced the American Families Plan tonight, which addresses 4 of the biggest challenges facing American families and in turn America.
Let's hear it.
First is access to good education.
True.
When this nation made 12 years of public education universal in the last century, it made us the best educated, best prepared nation in the world. It's, I believe, the overwhelming reason that propelled us to where we got in the 20th century. But the world's caught up or catching up. They're not waiting. I would say parents...
Yeah, wait, where's America at? Right, hold on. America... wait, hold on. Countries ranked by education. America has certainly been caught up to. Let me see. Countries by math? So if you go by best countries for education, the top one is going to be the United States. I suspect the reason for that is probably because if you're going to elite schools, America is best. If you want to get a really good education and you have the money and scores necessary to attain it, then America is objectively the best place to go. But in terms of like the average student, I think America lags behind quite a bit. Yeah, look at this. So these are math, science, and reading scores averaged. Above 500, we have 1 through 20, China, Singapore, Macau, Hong Kong, Estonia, Japan, South Korea, Canada, Taiwan, Finland, Poland, Ireland, Slovenia, the UK, New Zealand, Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and Belgium. From these, you know. China really nailing it over here, Jesus. And then between 450 and 500, we have Australia, Switzerland, Norway, Czechia, and the United States down here at 495. We are definitely not in the position that we should be. It seems there are other countries that have these problems as well. France, Norway, that you would expect to be on roughly the same level of development as the United States. As I understand it, America has a very imbalanced educational system. Because most stuff is determined locally, Depending on where you're born, you can have the best free primary education in the world, or you can have terrible education. Some people benefit from really good education. I did, because your schools are funded by the housing tax, the property taxes in your region. Meaning that if you're in a wealthy area, that's a lot of money, and if you're in a poor area, that's no money. So it varies tremendously here in America. And then the below 450. Well, the Dominican Republic is at number 77, and we don't even see half of the total countries on Earth. I can imagine many of the countries here are doing even worse. Where's India at? Where's Iran at? I'm curious. Well, anyway, we could definitely be doing quite a bit better, that's for sure. You know? What's the per capita ranking for education? I think we were just looking at that equivalent there. But the best place for education is more of like a higher education type thing, you know?
Hypothetically, if we were sitting down, we set a bipartisan committee together and said, okay, we're going to decide what we do in terms of government providing for free education. I wonder whether we'd think, as we did in the 20th century, that 12 years is enough in the 21st century. I doubt it. 12 years is no longer enough today to compete with the rest of the world in the 21st century. That's why my American Families Plan guarantees 4 additional years of public education for every person in America, starting as early as we can. The great universities in this country have conducted studies over the last 10 years. It shows that adding 2 years of universal high-quality preschool for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old, no matter what background they come from, puts them in a position to be able to compete all the way through 12 years. And increases exponentially their prospect of graduating and going on beyond graduation. The research shows when a young child goes to school, not daycare, they're far more likely to graduate from high school and go to college.
Daycare or preschool are like essential. A lot of people consider them like bougie or whatever, like being able to afford it, the good preschool or whatever, but it's critical. Keep in mind that when humans were like tribes, you know, babies started interacting with each other the moment they could start moving around. Like, there were the kids in the tribe, and they immediately started, like, hanging out with each other. But there are a lot of people who grow up in, like, suburbs, and they just spend the first 7 years of their life only seeing their parents. You need to develop those social skills early on. And those social skills are what you need more than anything else with regards to succeeding in life. Just that early stuff. She was anti-preschool. I saw the tweet. No. The kids need early socialization. Whether you're doing it through daycare or preschool, it is good for the children.
Or something.
Also, a lot of people, unironically, treat their kids like pets, okay? If a lot of people, housewives will do this a lot, the kids are just like their little pets, and they just like taking care of them. They just like sort of being around them, and that's cute and all, but sorry, that kid's got to learn social skills, okay? Got to go out, got to go slobber on some fucking plastic toys at a daycare or some shit. Go get sick. Go build your immune system. Do something.
After high school. When you add 2 years of free community college on top of that, you begin to change the dynamic. We can do that. And we'll increase Pell Grants and invest in historical black colleges and universities, tribal colleges, minority-serving institutions. The reason is they don't have the endowments. But their students are just as capable of learning about cybersecurity, just as capable of learning about metallurgy, all the things that are going on that provide those jobs of the future. Jill is a community college professor who teaches today as First Lady. She's long said, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. Joe, any country that out-educates us is going to outcompete us. She'll be deeply involved in leading this effort. Thank you, Jill. Second thing we need, American Families Plan will provide access to quality, affordable child care. We guarantee when I'm proposing the legislation, we guarantee that low and middle income families will pay no more than 7%.
It's obvious that corrupt Joe Biden's community college plan exists to make sure his wife gets to keep her job. True. The collusion.
% of their income for high quality care for children up to the age of 5. The most hard-pressed working families won't have to spend a dime. Third, the American Families Plan will finally provide up to 12 weeks of paid leave and medical leave, family medical leave. We're one of the few industrial countries in the world. No one should have to choose between a job and a paycheck, or taking care of themselves and their loved ones, or parent, or spouse, or child. And fourth, the American Family Plan puts directly into the pockets of millions of Americans. In March, we expanded tax credit for every child in a family, up to $3,000 per child.
Hey, Merrick.
If you're under 6 years of age. Over 6 years of age. And $3,600 for children over 6 years of age. With 2 parents, 2 kids, that's $7,200 in the pockets to help take care of your family. And that will help more than 65 million children and help cut child care poverty in half. And we can afford it. So we did that in the last piece of legislation we passed. But let's extend that child care tax credit at least through the end of 2025. The American Rescue Plan lowered health care premiums for 9 million Americans who buy their coverage under the Affordable Care Act. I know that's really popular this side of the aisle. But
get them.
Let's make that provision permanent so their premiums don't go back up.
Dude, Pelosi is so on it. Pelosi is so excited.
In addition to my family's plan, I'm going to work with Congress to address this year other critical priorities for American families. The Affordable Care Act has been a lifeline for millions of Americans, protecting people with pre-existing conditions, protecting women's health, and the pandemic has demonstrated how badly it's needed. Let's lower deductibles for working families on the Affordable Care Act. And let's lower prescription drug costs. We know how to do this. The last president had that as an objective. We all know how outrageously expensive drugs are in America. In fact, we pay the highest prescription drug prices of anywhere in the world, right here in America. Nearly 3 times for the same drug, nearly 3 times what other countries pay.
It's just the Bernie.
3 times.
Yeah.
For the same drug, nearly 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
What other countries pay. We have to change that, and we can. Let's do what we talked about for all the years I was down here in this body, in Congress.
This guy who
Let's give Medicare the power to save hundreds of billions of dollars by negotiating lower drug prescription prices.
I said all of this. I said all of this on the campaign trail.
And by the way,
and now he's saying it, and they're clapping.
It won't just help people on Medicare. Lower prescription drug costs for everyone. And the money we save, which is billions of dollars, can go to strengthen the Affordable Care Act and expand Medicare coverage benefits without costing taxpayers an additional penny. It's within our power to do it. Let's do it now.
I am not.
We've talked about it long enough. Democrats and Republicans, let's get it done this year. This is all about a simple premise. Health care should be a right, not a privilege in America.
How can Pelosi get up that fast? Are there like springs in her shoes?
How do we pay for my jobs and family plan? I made it clear we can do it without increasing the deficits. Let's start with what I will not do. I will not impose any tax increase on people making less than $400,000.
Hey.
But it's time for corporate America and the wealthiest 1% of Americans to just begin to pay their fair share. Just their fair share. Sometimes I have arguments with my...
Wait, did you guys see that that clip? Guys, remember, the Republicans are the party of the working class.
so obvious. I was screaming at the television when he's talking about taxes because what he is saying is so obvious.
This is in response to the speech, by the way.
Obviously asinine. When he says that rich people don't pay their fair share in this country, that is just an abject, disgusting lie. It is a lie. The top 10% of income earners in this country pay all net taxes, not some of the net taxes, all of the net taxes, because net taxes are defined as what you pay into the government minus what you get back from the government. So if you get back from the government more than you paid in, this means that you were not a person who paid net taxes into the government. Only the people at the top of the spectrum are paying net taxes in this country. All of the net taxes in this country. When he says they're not paying their fair share, the only thing he means by they're not paying their fair share is it should be nearly all of your income goes to the federal government. And when he says things like, I'm not going to tax anybody who's making under $400,000 a year, he is lying to you through his teeth. When he says I'm going to tax corporations, corporations are not human beings for purposes of taxes. The money that would have been passed on to you via income is being taxed up here. That money is now being withdrawn from the system and taken away from you. Corporations are going to have to raise prices in order to deal with the taxation effects. When he says that I'm going to tax all of these rich people on their capital gains taxes, what do you think those rich people are going to do rather than put their money in the stock market where they get taxed on capital gains? They're not going to put their money in the stock market. So what happens to your 401k if you're a union member or a teacher's union member? What do you think happens?
Wait, hold on. They're getting taxed on it either way. Wait, hold on. Just because you pay capital gains tax doesn't mean you don't make a profit off of favorable stock market trades. Wait, he knows that, right? Having a capital gains tax of 40% doesn't mean you don't make any money from it. Where else are they going to put their money? Are they going to continue to put it in their offshore Cayman Island accounts where it does nothing for the economy anyway? What are you talking about?
So all the other 50% of the population who are invested in the stock market right now. And what happens to the businesses that hire you when Joe Biden decides that your boss needs to be taxed out of existence in order so that he can determine where the dollars go? This jackass who's never created a single job in his entire life.
Mad.
The people who don't pay their fair share in this country are the poor. We need to raise taxes on the poor.
Party of the working class. Now that's some Republican populism right there.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The poor in this country pay zero. The lower middle class in this country pay net zero. So we have a group of people who pay no taxes.
That's because there are so many people in this country who are at borderline poverty wages.
A group of people who pay no net taxes. A group of people who pay all the net taxes. And his argument is that it's category 3 who don't pay their fair share. Fair share means your percentage of taxes. We've determined that there are some people who shouldn't pay any percent of taxes. The only fair taxing system is one in which everyone pays.
Mad. Of course, as always, these arguments are economically illiterate. First of all, increasing the capital gains tax doesn't mean that wealthy people aren't going to invest in the stock market. It's still a good way to make money. And second of all, in an era of unprecedented economic inequality, the idea that poor people are the ones who need to be paying more in taxes is pretty ridiculous. You know. But what are you going to do, right? Remember, party of the working class. Where is that? Yeah, here we go. This is just over the past 50 years, too. Wealthiest Americans own an increasing share of wealth. The bottom 90% have had the total wealth that they own. This isn't just income. This is wealth held, which means that it's even more inelastic. Has been plummeting relative to the growth of the top 1%. Just really goofy stuff, you know? Real goofy goober time. Like in the SpongeBob movie. Real goofy goober shit. Oh, anyway. Meanwhile, the top marginal tax rate, 91%, was under Eisenhower Republican. Well, the Republican Party of the 1950s was not the Republican Party of the modern day. Bosh, that graph is misleading. Very few people actually fit in the top marginal tax bracket. Yeah, of course. The top marginal... Wait, what is the top marginal tax bracket? Top marginal tax bracket America. What do we got? The 7th bracket is 37%, but what is the amount for that? To get 37 to get the top tax bracket as a single filer, you need to be making more than $500,000 a year. And if you're married filing jointly, it's about 600,000. So I'd say that if you're making half $1 million a year, it's okay to be taxed more than 37%. That's just a personal opinion of mine. I'm including myself in that, you know? Just an opinion that I have, you know?
My friends in the Democratic Party. I think you should be able to become a billionaire and a millionaire, but pay your fair share. A recent study shows that 55 of the nation's biggest corporations paid
Oh, and just in case there are people who don't understand what marginal tax rates are, okay? The way tax brackets work is that you only pay that amount for all the dollars that are spent over that bracket. So if you make $1 million a year, you're only paying 37% in taxes for every dollar above the bracket that you're in. So if you make just $1 over the 7th bracket, you're getting taxed not everything at the 7th bracket. The portion of it's getting taxed at the 6th bracket. And oh God. Okay, hold on. Sorry, this was a meme that I made for Twitter. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's say. No. Let's say you're making some mega moolah. Here's the mega moolah line. Okay? Do you guys understand? Are we following the mega moolah line so far? Okay? And we're going to divide it into tax brackets. Okay? Let's say this is 600,000. Okay? And we have a tax bracket down here. We have a tax bracket here, and here, and here, and here. Okay? And this tax bracket is 10%. This is all made up numbers, but I'm going to explain the concept to you. 15%, 20%, 25. I have a $2,000 Cintiq, and I'm still doing this with the mouse. And 30, okay? A tax bracket means that all the money above it gets taxed at this amount, okay? Now let's say that each of these chunks represents $100,000, okay? So this chunk is 100,000, this chunk's 100,000, this chunk's 100,000, this chunk's 100,000, this chunk's 100,000, and this chunk is 100,000, okay? So the upper tax marginal bracket here is 30%. So you pay 30% on 600K, right? That's $180,000 for all of this. Wrong! It's marginal. Dumb fuck, okay? First, okay, you pay 0% on this bit down here. Okay? 0. You pay $0 on this. You pay 10% of this 100,000, which is 10K. 15% on this 100,000. That's 15K. 20% on this 100,000. That's 20K. 25K on the next block, because it's 25%, and then $30,000 on the top 100%, which adds up to a grand total of 0, 10, 25, 45, 70, 100. $100,000 in taxes. Not 180,000, 100,000. Because you only pay the marginal amount on the bracket that you're in for that amount. Okay? So it's not... guys, have you ever heard that myth? That, like, a person doesn't want to make a little bit more money because it'll push them into another tax bracket? That is a complete myth. That is not how tax brackets work. That is not how that works, okay? If you get enough money to push you above that bracket, only the amount you made above that bracket is being taxed at that higher rate, okay? It's a complete myth, okay? It's not a thing that happens. Now, it is possible to have your income pushed up to a point where welfare benefits no longer kick in, and that can be a real issue. But just talking about taxes, it's not a thing, okay? Yeah, so that's how tax brackets work. See? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here's a cute drawing that got 102,000 upvotes on Reddit. Yeah. People wrongly believe a 40% marginal tax means you'll pay a total of 40,000 pounds in tax or euros or whatever. But if you earn, see, you only get taxed for the amount within the bracket. Okay, that's how that works. Okay. Yeah. So there you go. Now you know. So on and so forth. Just please keep that in mind. So just, yeah, just as long as we know. Okay.
Zero federal tax last year. Those 55 corporations made in excess of $40 billion in profit. A lot of companies also evade taxes through tax havens in Switzerland and Bermuda and the Cayman Islands. And they benefit from tax loopholes and deductions for offshoring jobs and shifting profits overseas. It's not right. We're going to reform corporate taxes so they pay their fair share and help pay for the public investments their businesses will benefit from as well. We're going to
love
reward
looking at
work,
Mitch.
not just wealth. We take the top tax bracket for the wealthiest 1% of Americans, those making over $400,000 or more, back up to where it was when George W. Bush was president, when he started, 39.6%. That's where it was when George W. was president. We're going to get rid of the loopholes, allow Americans to make more than $1 million a year and pay a lower tax rate on their capital gains than Americans who receive a paycheck. We're only going to affect 0.3% of all Americans by that action, 0.3%. And the IRS is going to crack down on millionaires and billionaires who cheat on their taxes. It's estimated to be billions of dollars by think tanks that are left, right, and center. I'm not looking to punish anybody, but I will not add a tax burden, additional tax burden to the middle class in this country. They're already paying enough.
True.
I believe what I propose is fair,
True.
fiscally responsible, and it raises revenue to pay for the plans I propose and will create millions of jobs that will grow the economy and enhance our financial standing in the country. When you hear someone say they don't want to raise taxes on the wealthiest 1% or corporate America, ask them, whose taxes you want to raise? Instead, whose are going to cut? Look, the big tax cut of 2017. Remember, it was supposed to pay for itself. That was how it was sold. And generate vast economic growth. Instead, it added $2 trillion to the deficit. It was a huge windfall for corporate America.
Huge.
And those at the very top. Instead of using the tax saving to raise wages and invest in research and development, it poured billions of dollars into the pockets of CEOs. In fact, the pay gap between CEOs and their workers is now among the largest in history. According to one study, CEOs make 320 times what the average worker in their corporation makes. It used to be in the below 100. The pandemic has only made things worse. 20 million Americans lost their job in the pandemic, working and middle-class Americans. At the same time, roughly 650 billionaires in America saw their net worth increase by more than $1 trillion in the same exact period. Let me say it again. 650 people increased their wealth by more than $1 trillion during this pandemic. And they're now worth more than $4 trillion. My fellow Americans, trickle down. Trickle down economics has never worked. And it's time to grow the economy from the bottom and the middle out.
Is that a couple Republicans standing up? Are the people in the front still Republicans?
You know, there's a broad consensus of economists left, right, and center, and they agree what I'm proposing will help create millions of jobs and generate historic economic growth. These are among the highest values investments we can make as a nation. I've often said our greatest strength is the power of our example, not just the example of our power. In my conversations with world leaders, and I've spoken to over 38, 40 of them now, I've made it known that America's back. You know what they say? The comment I hear most of all from them? So they say, we see America's back, but for how long? But for how long? My fellow Americans, we have to show not just that we're back, but that we're back to stay, and that we aren't going to go it alone. We're going to do it by leading with our allies. No one nation can deal with all the crises of our time, from terrorism to nuclear proliferation, mass migration, cybersecurity, climate change, as well as
He's spitting.
what we're experiencing now with pandemics. There's no wall high enough to keep any virus out. And our own vaccine supply, as it grows to meet our needs, and we're meeting them, will become an arsenal for vaccines for other countries, just as America is an arsenal for democracy for the world, and in consequence influence the world. But every American will have access before that occurs. Every American will have access to be fully covered by COVID-19 from the vaccines we have. Look, the climate crisis is not our fight alone. It's a global fight. The United States accounts, as all of you know, less than 15% of carbon emissions. The rest of the world accounts for 85%. That's why I kept my commitment to rejoin the Paris Accord, because if we do everything perfectly, it's not going to only matter. I kept my commitment to convene a climate summit right here in America with all the major economies of the world: China, Russia, India, European Union. And I said I'd do it in my first 100 days. I want to be very blunt about it. My attempt was to make sure that the world could see there was a consensus, that we are at an inflection point in history. The consensus is if we act to save the planet, we can create millions of jobs and economic growth and opportunity and raise the standard of living of almost everyone around the world. If you watched any of it and you were all busy, I'm sure you didn't have much time. That's what virtually every nation said, even the ones that aren't doing their fair share. The investments I propose tonight also advance the foreign policy, in my view, that benefits the middle class. That means making sure every nation plays by the same rules in the global economy, including China. In my discussion with President Xi, I told him, we welcome the competition. We're not looking for conflict. But I made absolutely clear that we will defend America's interest across the board. America will stand up to unfair trade practices that undercut American workers and American industries, like subsidies from state to state-owned operations and enterprises, and the theft of American technology and intellectual property. I also told President Xi that we'll maintain a strong military presence in the Indo-Pacific, just as we do with NATO and Europe, not to start a conflict, but to prevent one.
Stuff like this is really interesting. Yeah, Republicans will stand up for that one. There's actually a lot of thoughts on this. So, in the modern day, America represents the greatest imperialist threat to the developing world that exists. There's no denying that. America is very, very strong. Eventually, China will have the capacity to inflict the same damage. China has also been pretty goddamn aggressive lately, between the constant posturing with India, between the Tibet, between, oh, thank you, Zanya, I really appreciate that. The South China Sea, I'll get to all donos soon, of course. China has the potential to be very dangerous down the line. They're also not a democratic country, whereas America is, meaning that there's a potential for greater humanitarian checks in American behavior than there are with China, you know? Yeah, I'll put oh, God. You know, I'll say this much, okay? I'm glad I live in a country where the Kent State Massacre is known and taught about in history class, and I don't live in a country where they have a section in their history book saying, you know, on this day 20 years ago, nothing happened in Tiananmen Square. I'll just, you know, not to say America doesn't deny its own crises, but, you know. Anyway, we'll do a research stream in the future, okay? I've been saying that a lot lately, but I want to learn more about what China's up to in that region of the world, you know? How hard are we posturing exactly? I know hasn't China had some pretty scary moments in the sea? There have been some times there where it felt like they were really pushing, you know, for greater military prominence in the region. Which, I mean, it's to be expected, yeah. Is Taiwan a nuclear power? No, Taiwan is not a nuclear power. Okay. Just wondering. I don't expect they're gonna, like, invade Taiwan or anything, but, you know, it's just... Yeah. This is the situation. Here we have Taiwan and China, or as it's known generally, West Taiwan, or mainland Taiwan. And, you know, I think America doesn't even recognize Taiwan as a nation, does it? Because we want to maintain good diplomatic relationships with... Yeah, we recognize it as some... Well, like, we basically do, but we officially don't. Yeah. There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to learn. Okay, it's complicated. It's complicated. Okay.
I told them what I've said to many world leaders, that America will not back away from our commitments, our commitment to human rights and fundamental freedoms and to our alliances.
Okay.
And I pointed out to him, no responsible American president could remain silent when basic human rights are being so blatantly violated. An American president has to represent the essence of what our country stands for. America is an idea, the most unique idea in history. We are created, all of us, equal. It's who we are. And we cannot walk away from that principle and, in fact, say we're dealing with the American idea. With regard to Russia, I know it concerns some of you, but I made very clear to Putin that we're not going to seek escalation.
Me too.
But their actions will have consequences if they turn out to be true, and they turned out to be true. So I responded directly and proportionally to Russia's interference in our elections and the cyber attacks on our government and our business. They did both of these things, and I told them we would respond, and we have. But we can also cooperate when it's our mutual interest. We did it when we extended the New START Treaty on nuclear arms, and we're working to do it on climate change. But he understands we will respond. On Iran and North Korea, nuclear programs that present serious threats to American security and the security of the world. We're going to be working closely with our allies to address the threats posed by both of these countries through diplomacy as well as stern deterrence. And American leadership means ending the forever war in Afghanistan. We have without hyperbole, the greatest fighting force in the history of the world. I'm the first president in 40 years who knows what it means to have a son serving in a war zone. Today, we have service members serving in the same war zone as their parents did. We have service members in Afghanistan who are not yet born on 9/11. The war in Afghanistan, as we remember the debates here, were never meant to be multi-generational undertakings of nation building. We went to Afghanistan to get the terrorists who attacked us on 9/11. And we said we would follow Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell to do it. If you've been in the upper Konar Valley, you've kind of seen the gates of hell. And we delivered justice to bin Laden. We degraded the terrorist threat of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. And after 20 years of valor, and sacrifice, it's time to bring those troops home. Look, even as we do, we'll maintain over-the-horizon capacity to suppress future threats to the homeland. And make no mistake, in 20 years, terrorism has metastasized. The threat has evolved way beyond Afghanistan. Those of you in the intelligence committees, the foreign relations committee, defense committees, you know well, we have to remain vigilant against the threats of the United States wherever they come from. Al-Qaeda and ISIS are in Yemen, Syria, Somalia, other places in Africa, in the Middle East, and beyond. And we won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terrorism. We're not going to ignore that either. My fellow Americans, look, we have to come together to heal the soul of this nation. It was nearly a year ago before her father's funeral when I spoke with Gianna Floyd, George Floyd's young daughter. She's a little tyke, so I was kneeling down to talk to her. So I could look at
speaking of this girl, she's so small. I had to lay down on my back to look
her in the eye. She looked at me, she said, "My daddy changed the world." Well, after the conviction of George Floyd's murderer, we can see how right she was if we have the courage to act as a Congress. We've all...
This is so rhetorically effective. Remember, look at Pelosi's face. Remember when Pelosi got a bunch of shit for saying George Floyd sacrificed himself? This time, Joe Biden's saying it, except he's getting George Floyd's daughter to say it, so he gets to skip on by. He's like, look, I'm not saying They changed the world, okay? His daughter said it. I'm just repeating. I'm just delivering this information to you as a messenger. I'm quoting. Yeah, that's a sneaky debate tactic right there.
Seen the knee of injustice on the neck
Look,
of
Pelosi's like, you see him getting away with it? Pelosi's looking like, that's all I had to do? Oh, okay.
Black Americans. Now's our opportunity to make some real progress. The vast majority of men and women wearing a uniform and a badge serve our communities, and they serve them honorably. I know them. I know they want... I know they want to help meet this moment as well. My fellow Americans, we have to come together to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the people they serve, to root out systemic racism in our criminal justice system, and to enact police reform in George Floyd's name that passed the House already. I know Republicans have their own ideas and are engaged in very productive discussions with Democrats in the Senate. We need to work together to find a consensus. But let's get it done next month, by the first anniversary of George Floyd's death. The country supports this reform, and Congress should act. We have a giant opportunity to bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice, real justice. And with the plans outlined tonight, we have a real chance to root out systemic racism that plagues America and American lives in other ways. A chance to deliver real equity, good jobs, good schools, affordable housing, clean air, clean water, being able to generate wealth and pass it down to generations because you have access to purchase a house. Real opportunities in the lives of more Americans, black, white, Latino, Asian Americans, Native Americans. Look, I also want to thank the United States Senate for voting 94-1 to pass the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act to protect Asian American and Pacific Islanders. You acted decisively. You can see on television the viciousness of the hate crimes we've seen over the past year and for too long. I urge the House to do the same and send that legislation to my desk, which I will gladly, anxiously sign. I also hope Congress will get to my desk the Equality Act to protect LGBTQ Americans. For all transgender Americans watching at home, especially young people, you're so brave. I want you to know your president has your back. Another thing, let's authorize the Violence Against Women Act, which has been law for 27 years. 27 years ago, I wrote it. It'll close the act that has to be authorized now will close the boyfriend loophole to keep guns out of the hands of abusers. The court order said this is an abuser. You can't own a gun. It's to close that loophole that existed. You know, it's estimated that 50 women are shot and killed by an intimate partner every month in America. 50 a month. Let's pass it and save some lives. And I need not tell anyone this, but gun violence has become an epidemic in America. The flag at the White House was still flying at half-mast for the 8 victims of the mass shooting in Georgia, when 10 more lives were taken in the mass shooting in Colorado. And in the week in between those two events, 250 other Americans were shot dead in the streets of America. 250 shot dead. I know how hard it is to make progress on this issue. In the 90s, we passed universal background checks, a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines that hold 100 rounds that can be fired off in seconds. We beat the NRA. Mass shootings and gun violence declined. Check out the report over 10 years. But in the early 2000s, the law expired. We've seen daily bloodshed since. I'm not saying if the law continued, we wouldn't see bloodshed. More than 2 weeks ago in the Rose Garden, surrounded by some of the bravest people I know, the survivors and families who lost loved ones to gun violence, I laid out several of the Department of Justice actions that are being taken to impact on this epidemic. One of them is banning so-called ghost guns. These are homemade guns built from a kit that includes directions on how to finish the firearm. The parts have no serial numbers, so they show up at crime scenes.
It's just too spooky. It's just the name is really dumb. It's fucking ghost guns. The guns in America that are used to target and kill ghosts are growing too prolific. Our ghosts are endangered.
And they can't be traced. The buyers of these ghost gun kits aren't required to pass any background check. Anyone, from a criminal or terrorist, could buy this kit and within 30 minutes have a weapon that's lethal, but no more. And I'll do everything in my power to protect the American people from this epidemic of gun violence, but it's time for Congress to act as well. Look, I don't want to become confrontational, but we need more Senate Republicans to join the overwhelming majority of Democratic colleagues and close the loopholes required in background check purchases of guns. We need a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And don't tell me it can't be done. We did it before and it worked.
I'm not commenting on this.
Talk to most responsible gun owners and hunters. They'll tell you there's no possible justification for having 100 rounds in a weapon. What do you think, deer wearing Kevlar vests? They'll tell you that there are too many people today who are able to buy a gun, but shouldn't be able to buy a gun. These kinds of reasonable reforms have overwhelming support from the American people, including many gun owners. The country supports reform, and Congress should act. This shouldn't be a red or blue issue. And no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. From the very beginning, there were certain guns, weapons, that could not be owned by Americans. Certain people could not own those weapons ever. We're not changing the Constitution. We're being reasonable. I think this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. I think it's an American issue. And here's what else we can do. Immigration has always been essential to America. Let's end our exhausting war over immigration. For more than 30 years, politicians have talked about immigration reform, and we've done nothing about it. It's time to fix it. On day one of my presidency, I kept my commitment and sent a comprehensive immigration bill to the United States Congress. If you believe we need to secure the border, pass it, because it has a lot of money for high-tech border security. If you believe in a pathway to citizenship, pass it. It's over 11 million undocumented folks, the vast majority of here overstaying visas. Pass it. We can actually, if you actually want to solve a problem, I've sent a bill to take a close look at it. We also have to get at the root problem of why people are fleeing, particularly to our southern border from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. The violence, the corruption, the gangs, the political instability, hunger, hurricanes, earthquakes, natural disasters. When I was president, when I was vice president, the president asked me to focus on providing help needed to address the root causes of migration. And to help keep people in their own countries instead of being forced to leave. The plan was working, but the last administration decided it was not worth it. I'm restoring the program and asked Vice President Harris to lead our diplomatic effort to take care of this. I have absolute confidence.
Any claims to this effect are completely hollow without a pledge to end the drug war, which I do not think Joe Biden has any interest in doing, considering the fact that he has been lukewarm at best on marijuana issues, and he kicked out staffers who tested positive for marijuana. Any claims made to this are complete virtue signals, unless the drug war, if removed, is like the most obvious, easy way to not only improve our own country, but to improve our closest and most significant neighbor, Mexico. Until we're talking seriously about that, we're not talking at all.
To get the job done. Now look, if you don't like my plan, let's at least pass what we all agree on. Congress needs to pass legislation this year to finally secure protection for dreamers. Our young people have only known America as their home. And permanent protection for immigrants who are here on temporary protective status who came from countries beset by man-made and natural-made violence and disaster. As well as a pathway to citizenship for foreign workers who put food on our tables. Look, immigrants have done so much for America during this pandemic and throughout our history. The country supports immigration reform. We should act. Let's argue over it. Let's debate it. But let's act. And if we truly want to restore the soul of America, we need to protect the sacred right to vote. Most people more people voted in the last presidential election than any time in American history, in the middle of the worst pandemic ever. It should be celebrated. Instead, it's being attacked. Congress should pass H.R. 1 and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and send it to my desk right away. The country supports it, and Congress should act now. Look, in conclusion, as we gather here tonight, the image of a violent mob assaulting this Capitol, desecrating our democracy, remain vivid in all our minds. Lives were put at risk, many of your lives. Lives were lost. Extraordinary courage was summoned. The insurrection was an existential crisis, a test of whether our democracy could survive, and it did. But the struggle is far from over. The question of whether our democracy will long endure is both ancient and urgent. As old as our republic, still vital today. Can our democracy deliver on its promise that all of us, created equal in the image of God, had a chance to lead lives of dignity, respect, and possibility? Can our democracy deliver the most pressing needs of our people? Can our democracy overcome the lies, anger, hate, and fears that have pulled us apart? America's adversaries, the autocrats of the world,
Not unless we have economic democracy, Biden.
are betting we can't. And I promise you, they're betting we can't. They believe we're too full of anger and division and rage. They look at the images of the mob that assaulted the Capitol as proof that the sun is setting on American democracy. But they're wrong. You know it, I know it. But we have to prove them wrong. We have to prove democracy still works, that our government still works, and we can deliver for our people. In our first 100 days together, we've acted to restore people's faith in democracy to deliver. We're vaccinating the nation. We're creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs. We're delivering real results to people. They can see it, feel it in their own lives. Opening doors of opportunity, guaranteeing some more fairness and justice. That's the essence of America. That's democracy in action. Our Constitution opens with the words, as trite as it sounds, we the people. Well, it's time to remember that we the people are the government. You and I. Not some force in a distant capital. Not some powerful force that we have no control over. It's us. It's we the people. In another era, when our democracy was tested, Franklin Roosevelt reminded us, in America, we do our part. We all do our part. That's all I'm asking, that we do our part, all of us. If we do that, we will meet the center challenge of the age by proving that democracy is durable and strong. Autocrats will not win the future. We will. America will. And the future belongs to America.
Oh,
So I stand here tonight before you in a new and vital hour of life and democracy of our nation. And I can say with absolute confidence, I have never been more confident or optimistic about America. Not because I'm president, because what's happening with the American people. We've stared into the abyss of insurrection and autocracy, pandemic and pain, and we, the people, did not flinch. At the very moment our adversaries were certain we'd pull apart and fail, we came together, we united. With light and hope, we summoned a new strength, new resolve to position us to win the competition of the 21st century. On our way to a union more perfect, more prosperous, and more just, as one people, one nation, and one America. Folks, as I told every world leader I've ever met with over the years, it's never, ever, ever been a good bet to bet against America, and it still isn't. We're the United States of America. There is not a single thing, nothing beyond our capacity. We can do whatever we set our mind to if we do it together. So let's begin to get together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you for your patience.
All right, you know, I'll
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'll credit where credit's due. It was actually a pretty good speech, you know? I mean, you know, I stand by any pre-existing criticisms I have of the administration, but in terms of what I would expect to have seen from something like this, I think that was overall pretty good. Let me see. Public reception of Biden's speech. Oh, that's nice. 7 in 10 who watched say Biden's speech left them feeling optimistic, which, again, that's definitely what people were looking for there. By a wide margin, speech watchers said Biden's policy proposals would move the country in the right direction rather than the wrong direction. In a survey conducted before the speech, the same people were a bit less bullish that Biden would lead in the right direction, 67-33. So it looks like about 6% of the people who were polled had their minds changed by the speech, or the speech directed them away from their previous expectation. Among Republicans, the share saying Biden's policies would move the country in the right direction grew from 13% to 27%, whereas among independents, that percentage rose from 61 to 73%. That is pretty extraordinary. That's pretty goddamn good. It's really impressive how once you get past all of the partisan politics, how generally popular some very, very basic social democracy policies are. I mean, you don't even have to sell them that hard. People just want these things. They're just better. It's just an improvement. That's good. I'm glad people responded to it positively.